Simon & Schuster Audio presents The Thin Green Line, The Money Secrets of the Super Wealthy by Paul Sullivan. Read by George Newbern, with an introduction by the author.
Prologue: Lunching with Wealthy People. On a crisp spring morning, I sat in an exquisitely refurbished townhouse a block from New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art. I was listening to four men worth tens of millions of dollars argue over who had the poorest childhood. With servers laying out a multi-course lunch in an opulent drawing room, the men tried to out-humble each other. Alan Wolpert, a former consultant at Arthur Andersen and then Accenture, boasted that he grew up in the Brighton Beach section of Brooklyn, and it was rough. His face had a fleshiness often associated with men who have risen from nothing to great wealth, but his voice still carried the borough's distinctive, nasally accent. "What block?" shouted Tommy Gallagher, who started on Wall Street right out of high school because he could not get into college. When he heard the answer, he nodded. Wolpert was the real deal. Gallagher may have been wealthy, but he was Brooklyn through and through. He rose to become the vice chairman of CIBC World Markets when it was a high-flying financial firm. He lived on Tony, East 75th Street in Manhattan, and had a beach house in the Hamptons, the summer retreat for Manhattan's wealthiest. But that day, he was dressed in a blue T-shirt underneath an old green Oxford. The combination made him look more like a neighborhood bartender or a washed-up boxer than a decamillionaire. Between them sat Steve L., a proprietary trader in Greenwich, Connecticut. He wanted in on this game. "We had no money," he said, shaking his well-groomed head for emphasis. "I mean, no money. Nothing." When pressed by the other men, Steve L. said his father had been a professor in Northern Virginia, a euphemism for the University of Virginia. A college campus was never going to be the mean streets of Brooklyn. He was out. But then the quiet guy sitting next to me piped up. Stephen, a short, soft man in his late 50s who would go unnoticed on a city street, said he had grown up in the Bronx, with a cabbie as a father. Not only did they have no money, but if it hadn't been for a lucky break his father got, he wouldn't be here today. "One of his fares got me into Dartmouth," he said. The group was impressed. He had gone from nothing to beyond the others and had the fortune to prove it. Stephen told me that he had owned residential real estate in East Harlem, but had sold his company in March 2007 at the height of the property bubble. The timing of the sale...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?